Split Screen is a monthly feature. Every month, two people interview each other about their work. My name is Peggy and I work for Literary Dundee at the University of Dundee, producing projects around literature and books and working with lots of fabulous people within the university and outside it. Projects include the Dundee Literary Festival, which is in October, so this year, 18th to 22nd of October. Do a little bit of a,
I'm Andy Robertson and I work for Hot Chocolate Trust. That's a young person's charity working with the young people that hang out in Dundee City Centre.
And that's where we are today, Andy, isn't it? This is pretty cool. I've never been in.
It is, yeah.
I got lost. I stood outside and just sort of stood there. All I do know is that it's sort of user-generated, which is a horrible term, but the guys that come here, they kind of decide what activities they're going to get up to. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Cool. So Hot Chocolate works in all kinds of creative ways with young people, but it's really about engaging with them where they're at rather than where we want them to be or where society thinks they should be. And so we have a whole spectrum of young people. Many of them are really well supported by their families, maybe going off to uni, but we also work with a lot of young people that face huge barriers, particularly many of those who've maybe been through the care system or have been involved in criminal justice or lots of those things. The interactions they've had with adults specifically or authority tend to define support in very rigid terms, so we work very holistically. And for us it's basically community approaches. There's loads of creative outputs and I think that's something personally I'm really engaged and passionate about, but also I think it's something that young people have really driven. I
think one of the things, I don't know about you, but I find in terms of measuring the impact of what we do, so like I even find it hard to describe a book that's really touched me because there's this poet Douglas Dunn who says it has to kind of get you in the head, heart and gut. So all three things for a great book or a great poem or a great piece of writing or a great piece of anything, I suppose, you know. Yeah. But taking it beyond that, how can you tell that an event you've helped to produce has had that impact on the people you've been producing it with or for?
So we set about on a journey with them, coming up with systems to actually measure and somehow have a conversation between quantitative and qualitative, and how I guess how you do things through the lens of your values rather than through the lens of what is needed to fill a quota, but how do you do that in a language that then funders understand? But yeah, thinking of, I guess, that world of such an interesting mix. You've got your Twitter and all that online presence, but also existing in a world of books and stories. As things kind of shift towards this digital age, what do you think the printed word can offer us that maybe alternatives can't?
I don't know if I doubt I made this word up. I always think of the word flexitextual, which is just like all ways of consuming words are good. So I think a lot of people think teens, because they're always stuck to their phones, they're always on, or young people, you know, they're always on social media or Snapchat or something. Whereas actually they might not be. You know, I have the Kindle app, so I can read book. You know, I tend to read paper, good old printed books more than online. So I guess to my mind, it's just more ways to be reading potentially rather than an oppositional thing. But also they've done some research and apparently teenagers are buying more printed books than consuming digital media than people thought would be the case because you know of the availability now of Kindles and tablets and things. But I suppose the interesting thing to me also is that there's a lot of people who don't have access to tablets and so on. So it's got to be borne in mind, certainly in terms of my programs, like it's, you know, there's people who won't be online and how do they get tickets in it? You can't do away with print, you've got to kind of always cater to the broader set of people, really.
So here we have the hat of Sam Gonsalves, and we're going to pick a random question.
This is your actual hat?
It's my actual hat. Good.
Yeah. I'm a bit scared. Oh, well. What will be the title of your autobiography?
Oh my goodness. I don't think there will be an autobiography because unlike loads of people who work in this area that I work in, I don't actually really write. I don't write. You know, a lot of people wear all the different hats and they write and they like promote events and they produce events, but I actually always say I'm just a reader, as if that's a terrible position to be in, you know, apology. It's not. It's a wonderful thing. But if I did write an autobiography, it would probably be called something like Beards, Daniel O'Donnell and Harmonicas and Other Stories, or something completely sort of that no one would buy apart from me, and because I love those three things a lot. Can I put that back to you? What would yours be called?
too many projects.
Nice.
Probably,
Nice.
I think
yeah,
so.
No, but I really prefer to be busy than not. Like if I'm not busy, I almost enter into a state of stasis. Like post-festival's the worst ever because and everyone's like, oh, you must be so tired, you'll need to take a big rest. And I'm like, no, I need to keep going because otherwise I'll feel really low, And I'm not a down kind of person. I've just recently started to learn the harmonica, which has been something I've wanted to do for a long time. And I had a harmonica and I used to be able to go woo, woo, nothing.
So this is your opportunity to premiere in front of the world.
Oh, I do have it with me, but I'm absolutely not. I can only play hymns, man. That's what and as my teacher says it, who's a 79-year-old guy, he's like, you're not good enough to show off.
I just recently started screen printing, which is something that I've always kind of wanted to do, but I've been getting just great joy out of making a mess because I think you can so often be straight to screen with some of those things. So that I think there's something really nice about learning something new and going through a process that pushes you, because I don't think enough of us do that. Hopefully continuity will make this hat disappear and reappear all the time.
Okay, so the question from the Hat of Joy is, what is your biggest phobia?
Phobia, wow. Inherent in creative processes, actually, I think there's I don't know if it's a fear or an anxiety or that thing of putting yourself out there, to be critiqued or kind of, I don't know, to get outside of your own brain. And I think we're all probably our biggest critic, but I think there's definitely a bridge to jump in terms of how other people relate with our work.
Because if all you heard was, oh, that's so good, oh, well done you, then it just becomes like a meaningless noise. Do you know?
Definitely.
Or if you've got a tough crowd and then they like what you've done, then you think, wow, they did enjoy that, because normally they're really difficult to please. I've got a very specific one.
Do you?
Yeah, which I've had ever since I was very little, which is people vomiting, which is called emetophobia. That's its proper name. And to the degree that if I'm watching, I don't know if you guys watch Fargo or anything, and there's loads of very grim, like I actually have to just get into kind of like
go to your happy place.
Just go somewhere else or leave the room sometime. Anyway, so that's a lovely one, isn't it? That's a really good creative one.
Yeah, it was Alice Walker said, look closely at the present you are constructing. It should look like the future you are dreaming. And I wanted to ask, what are you dreaming about, and how does that square with what you are doing, harmonica or otherwise?
What is the future I'm dreaming? Apart from taking the Caird Hall by storm, just me and the Muthi, obviously. It's a lovely question, actually. The future I'm dreaming so I used to. I don't know. I still within books, still working within books, still having a varied day. I love that, like I say, getting to do different things, and the fact that my job life is so linked to my job life. I love that that's the case. Maybe there'd be a venue in my future. I used to have a venue in my past that, and I just feel with having a space to play with, like you have here, it's really special. Just after the summer, actually, I'm kind of shifting roles at work, which is really nice. Kind of lead the kind of development of our arts and music. So we've got an arts worker and a music worker, and we'll form a little team and just try and push that to new places a bit more. If folks want to get in touch about Literary Dundee or Peggy Hughes the person, whatever, where can they find you? Where can they find us? So we are based within the university, so if you're in person, come up to the Tower building. Online, we are www.literarydundee.co.uk, and then on Facebook it's just Literary Dundee, and on Twitter it's the same, @Literary Dundee, and I'm often lurking around there somewhere or retweeting things or there, but as me it's @Hughes Peg with one G. So what about you? What about us? You can find us at www.hotchocolate.org.uk, or just andy@hotchocolate.org.uk will get you through to me. I think we are at Hot Choco Trust or something like that. You are, I think, on the Twitters. Or you can find me at Tekel and Hyde or tekelandhyde.com. Tekel and Hyde, eh? For some silly business or other. Tekel like Dundee Tekel. Yeah, like Dundee. So TECKLE. Yeah. And Hyde, HYDE. So, yeah.